Alright, we have reached the final in Marrakech, and like I just said in my previous video, I predicted both of these matches incorrectly, just like I did in Bucharest, because it was a similar situation where we had, in this case, in Marrakech, we had 3 out of the 4 semi-finalists who had never won a title. Dardari was the only one who won a title. So I thought Dardari would win. He only had to defeat 2 more players who had never won titles before, but he lost in straight sets in the semifinals. So here, both of these matches were difficult to predict again still, because there was really not much past data on most of these players. You would think Dardari was the only one who was kind of the safe pick, given that he has achieved much more in terms of clay titles than all of these other players. But Dardari lost. So these things are very difficult to predict, very fine margins in the sport. Dardari, I will not call him a fraud because he lost in straight sets, but it was actually a pretty close match. He lost 6-4, 7-6. So the second set tiebreak, really the second set, which was decided in the tiebreak, I should say, that really could have gone either way, even though the tiebreak was 7-2. You never know with the tiebreak. Anything could happen. A few more points go the other person's way. They could easily sneak out that set. And the first set 6-4, that was also pretty close. Dardari was actually up a break in the very beginning of the match. He broke Trungelliti's serve to start the match. But then after that he lost. He ended up losing that set 6-4. So Trungelliti, he is actually into his first ATP Tour final of his career at 36 years old. And he has now become the oldest first-time men's singles finalist in the Open era, I believe. So he's the oldest person in the ATP Tour history to reach his first final. Nobody has reached their first final of their career when they were older than 36, or older than Trungelliti is exactly. And funnily enough, he is going to be playing a very young guy in the final, who is also in the first final of his career, because he is actually new to the tour, unlike Trungelliti, who has been in the tour for much longer. He's played his first main draw match, I believe, on the tour when his opponent was 6 years old. And that opponent is Rafael Jódar, the 19-year-old from Spain, who is up and coming this year, has had an unbelievable rise of the rankings. He's now up to 66 or 67 in the live rankings, when around this time last year I think he was ranked around 900. So he has had a fantastic progression up the rankings. And here we actually have kind of similar final, a bit of a similar situation to the final that we have in Bucharest, because in both of these finals we have an Argentine versus a Spaniard, where the Argentine is older, and the Argentine's name starts with M, and the Spanish player is a kid who has basically just started playing on the tour this year. In both of these finals, in Marrakech and Bucharest, we have the 19-year-old Jódar in Marrakech, and we have the 21-year-old Merida in Bucharest. So these are 2 up-and-coming young Spanish prospects. Spain is really a big tennis country. They always seem to have a lot of top players coming from there. Spain and Italy. And also, just like in Bucharest, this final is once again extremely difficult to predict, because we have, again, basically no data. Neither of these players have ever been in a final before at ATP level. These players have never faced each other before, because Jódar is very young. So what can we say? What can we say? We may as well flip a coin. We may as well flip a coin again. But this time I'm going to go with Jódar. He did he was extremely dominant in his semifinal match against Camilo Hugo Carbelli, another Argentine, who, by the way, is a fraud. I thought that he would actually defeat Jódar, but now I realize my mistake, because Hugo, his problem is he is too passive. He is one of the most pusher players I have seen on the ATP Tour. So I don't believe he will ever win even an ATP 250 title unless he becomes more aggressive with his game. And that's what happens. He ran into a player who was willing to be aggressive, and he got completely destroyed 6-2, 6-1 in barely over an hour. So I will not make the mistake again to pick Hugo to win a semifinal next time until he proves me wrong. So Jódar, I don't think he will be tired at all. He had mostly straight set matches. He just had a very quick match, barely over an hour, 6-2, 6-1. Then before that, he only had to play a set in 2 games before his opponent retired. Then his match before that was a 3-setter. That was his toughest match, defeating the 4th seed Marrakech 6-3 in the 3rd. And before that was another straight set match. So I don't think stamina will be an issue for him. He's also very young. Trungelliti, he has had a little bit of a tougher path to get here. Spent more time on court, at least. He's had to play 1, 2, 3. He's had to play 2 more matches than Jódar because he had to go through qualifying. And he still has actually only dropped 1 set, which was against Mute, because he has now defeated Dardery in straight sets. So he has had an unbelievable run here, actually. Not only because the fact that he's 36 and is making his first final, oldest man to debut in top 100, oldest first-time finalist. Not only because of that, but because of the players he is taking out in this tournament. And it's not like these are like super top elite level players. I mean, they are elite because all pro players are elite, but it's not like these are the most accomplished players on the tour. Right, but speaking in terms of this specific tournament and the draw that he had received in this tournament, he couldn't have received a much tougher draw because he had to go through 3 straight seeded players in this tournament. He defeated the 5th seed Marrakech in the round of 16. Then he defeated the 3rd seed Mute in the quarterfinal. Mute on clay, that is not easy. That is very tricky, actually. And then he defeated the top seed Dardery just now in the semifinal. Dardery, who has won, he has been farming ATP 250s, this guy. He has won like 4 or 5 out of them already. And he actually turned pro fairly recently, too. He really did that. So there wasn't a much tougher draw that Trungelliti could receive in this tournament. So he has been on a killing spree. He has eliminated 3 seeded players in a row in this tournament. And I really don't think that he will be that tired, even though he has had to play 2 more matches than Jódar. He still only lost 1 set in the entire tournament. And he didn't really look tired at all in his match against Dardery from what I saw. He just looked extremely focused. So I think that this can be a competitive, exciting match. But again, if it is not, I will not be surprised. But I'm going to go with Jódar to win this, actually. So I'm really going kind of with the opposite of what I did for Bucharest. I'm flipping this here. I'm going with Jódar to win. And I really have no reasoning for that because, like I said, I may as well flip a coin. I may as well do that. But Jódar, if I can give any sort of reasoning, he just destroyed his previous opponent last time on court, even though I just said I don't think that will be too much of a problem. But if I have to give some reason, it will be that. And he is maybe the more aggressive of the 2 players. Maybe we could say that. But I definitely think this can go either way. Well, I will have Jódar winning this in 3 sets, winning his first ATP title.